The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, guys, I'm live once again. I'm not sure I'm not sure what direction I'm gonna take this live. I really did not feel like going through the trouble of researching and preparing for a show, so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and go live, and whoever shows up shows up. Whoever wants to talk boxing can talk boxing. I just got back from San Antonio yesterday afternoon. I've had like about a day and a half to kind of rest and recoup and get some videos done. But we going right back on the road tomorrow. Like tomorrow, we're going back on the road tomorrow. Me and Pops will be taking the True School Road Show all over America, or at least in the South. We'll be going down to Florida for the WBA convention. The WBA convention's in Orlando, so I'll be there at Pops. When that concludes, I'll be at the Pro Box show the following on the 19th. Ramon Cardenas is headlining that show. In between all that, I'll be making my rounds around the South Florida boxing gyms because I haven't really been around South Florida too much over the last year or so. So gonna go catch up with the fine folks there, like Stacey McKinley, Dominique Francis, and just everybody that I love in the South Florida boxing community. So yeah, I got that. Probably gonna be covering Super Matias, Dalton Smith. I might even be going to Puerto Rico for Xander Zayas and Abbas Barrow. So maybe that. Definitely training camp with Angelo Leo. So we got a busy schedule. We got a full agenda here on True School Sports. And so while I'm here, while I got time, while things are slow, let's talk some boxing. Y'all got questions? Leave them down below. Y'all got anything y'all want me to address? Y'all leave it below, and we'll see how long this live goes. But before I even get into the comments, let me just say this, guys. I have been advertising this as much, but look, if you want to get in contact with me outside of YouTube, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on Twitter, and you want to hit me direct, you can hit me up right there. That's my Google Voice number. I use it for business purposes, but 702-758-5496. You could go ahead and shoot me a text message there if you want to talk some boxing, or if you want to just shoot the shit or talk about life. It's right there, right? You can talk to you whenever you want. So anyway, shout out to everybody here. We got my main man TSM in the building. He said, "What's up, BT? Good to see you, champ. What's up, Rebel Rico?" Says salute, BT. Shout out to you. You're back home. San Antonio was good. San Antonio was really good. It was definitely a week that I needed. I have some videos. I have some YouTube shorts and a couple of videos that are doing pretty well from that week. Like I got this one YouTube short that has like 600,000 views, and I've gotten a lot of subscribers off that. So I'm really excited about that. I might actually get a chance to hit 90,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which I didn't think was possible. So I'm really excited about that. And it was great. I got to see Sean Tatel for the first time in about half a year, so that was good. And it was just good to be around big time boxing. That's what this whole boxing journey is. And the best part about it is, I really feel like that whole thing in San Antonio, it's the precursor to what's about to be the most busiest year of my life. It's going to be the true breakout year for True School Sports. And the best part is, y'all going to be here for the journey, as you've been here for the journey every step of the way. So appreciate you, champ. Shout out to my main man, my fellow Boricua, Joel. Good to see Joel. He says, "We here." Good to see you, champ. Hope all is well. Do you think Shakur Stevenson is ducking O'Shaquie Foster? No, I don't. I know it's easy to say that, and I know people like to accuse fighters of ducking fights. How can you say right now, at least, that he's ducking O'Shaquie Foster when he already had a fight signed with Teofimo Lopez? Teofimo Lopez is the lineal champion at 140. Teofimo Lopez is one of the most accomplished fighters in and around his weight. And y'all been asking Shakur Stevenson to be in a big fight all these years. Now he's in a big fight. Now y'all getting mad at him because O'Shaquie Foster won a bullshit interim title that was gifted to him because the WBC wanted to create a sanctioning fee out of thin air. No, he's not ducking O'Shaquie Foster. Shaquie Foster's a very good fighter. I like him. I respect him, but I would say no. Should Shaq Foster move to 135? I think so. I don't see why he would waste any time going to 135. I mean, look, let's be real. He could fight Raymond Ford at 130, but do you guys consider that a big fight? I mean, it's a good fight. You know, us hardcore boxing degenerates would care about that fight, but do you really consider it a big fight? I don't. I don't really consider that a big fight. If he's looking for the big money, he's looking for the big dollars. I say he go to 35. I say he try to go ahead and explore a future up there. You know, if Shakur Stevenson were to lose to Teofimo Lopez, maybe he comes back. Maybe he comes back down at 135, and they can go ahead and get that fight going. But yeah, I mean, there's not really any. You guys tell me, what are the big fights for O'Shaquie Foster at 130? I mean, is he going to fight Vaquero Navarrete? Is he going to fight Sugar Nunez? I don't think he is. So I'm not against it at all. What's a good fight for Mr. Gary Russell at 135, BT? I don't think Gary Russell Jr. should box anymore. Straight up, I don't. I don't think he really wants to fight, because if he wanted to fight, he'd be fighting already. But if to answer your question, you could do him versus Mark Moxile rematch. You could do maybe him versus O'Shaquie Foster. I don't know, man. Like, I respect Gary Russell Jr. He's a very good fighter. Maybe Frank Martin, if PBC wants to explore that route. You know, Frank Martin, Gary Russell Jr. But like, really and truthfully, guys, Gary Russell Jr. has not been he's not gonna fight again. He's already, you know, into the training. You know, he's more focused on his brother. My man Pedro is mentioning Stephen Fulton. I'm not against that either. Stephen Fulton, I don't think he wants to fight no more, because you know he's made his money. He's got what he's wanted out of boxing. He doesn't strike me as a guy who really wants to be in the fight game no more. Because when you get a chance to become Philadelphia's first 3-division champion, and you show up fat and out of shape and not ready to fight, then how seriously should I take you? Like, straight up. Shout out to my main man, Talkers. Good to see you, Talkers. In the comments, he says, the whole duck talk in boxing is so draining, especially when nobody cares about people turning down eliminators. That's real ducking. Yeah, people are very selective when talking about ducks and guys avoiding people. They don't value the mandatories. They don't care about eliminators. Like, look, y'all tell me by a show of hands and by a show of comments, how many of you care about Suleiman Sissoko not getting his world title shot because he won a WBC eliminator last year when he beat Kavaluskas, right? But y'all ain't complaining about that. Y'all ain't complaining about Ryan Garcia coming off of a loss, being able to leapfrog Suleiman Sissoko, who's the WBC welterweight mandatory. That's okay. You know, y'all have been a lot of people have been complaining about the fact that Jadir Herrera was just approved to fight for the WBC interim lightweight title 2 or 3 days before they decided to create this whole situation with Fulton and Foster. So I mean, people are very selective with what they think is a duck, what's not a duck, but you know, it is draining. And I'll tell you this, in 2026, one thing that I'm going to try to graduate from a little bit and talk about a little less in boxing is the whole duck talk. It's draining. It really does take away the love and the joy that I have for this sport. And half the time when I tell you guys the truth about some of your favorite fighters, you all get pissy about it because a lot of people are vicariously living through their favorite fighters. They don't really love the sport. They don't really love the fight game. They just love a certain man or a certain fighter in the fight game. And that's not being a boxing fan. That's being a dick rider. Let me see. We got a lot of comments here. Shout out to everybody tuning in. I'm not expecting to get a lot of views, and I don't really care. I'm just here to break the drought, because I haven't been live for 11 days. So I'm just coming here, showing face, letting y'all know that I'm still alive, letting y'all know that, you know, I still do these lives when I can. And yeah, you know, just got a little bit of downtime before I got to pack, before I got to get on the road for like the next, I would presume, 2 weeks to a month, you know, talk to the boxing fans, talk to the fine folks in the fight game. It's not necessarily a big fight, but a big payday for Foster is Tsutsumi after he beats Jazza Dickens. Well, look, man, I like Tsutsumi. Hayato Tsutsumi is one of the fighters that, you know, I would say skill for skill is, you know, he's up there. I would class his skill set up there with the Inoues and the Nakatanis of the world. But that's no gimme fight. Like Jazza Dickens, I know he's the underdog, but that's no gimme fight. So he has to win that fight. If he wins that fight, then I think, yes, obviously a big payday for O'Shaquie Foster could be potentially to go to Japan because I'm of the belief that the powers that be in Japan would pay O'Shaquie Foster good money, top dollar, to do a unification fight in the land of the rising sun. So I didn't think about that option per se, but that's a good observation. I like that fight. Joel says, I know Shakur wants and deserves the big fights, but O'Shaquie Foster is no scrub, and I could see potentially sells more, Shakur versus Foster than Shakur versus Pereira or O'Shaquie is Pereira. I'm look. I know people don't like. I know people don't like Shakur Stevenson. A lot of people are turned off by his personality, but he's not ducking O'Shaquie Foster. I like O'Shaquie Foster. I've been covering O'Shaquie Foster on this channel since O'Shaquie Foster fought on Ring City USA in 2020. So trust me when I tell you, I value what he's done and I value what he's accomplished in his career. But O'Shaquie Foster is not a big money fight for Shakur Stevenson, and all O'Shaquie Foster can keep doing to potentially get that fight is just keep winning, keep kicking ass, and keep getting people in the fight game, in the public, and the boxing fans to care about his fight, so much so to the point that Shakur Stevenson has no other choice but to fight him. That's where he's got to be. That's what he has to do. It could be the cameras, but Pacheco didn't look that much bigger in the face-off with Kevin Lele Sajo, and Pacheco is on an upseller. And yes, I've said the same thing. I like Diego Pacheco. He's a friend of the program. I've been talking up Diego Pacheco since 2018. I've always been adamant that he is Eddie Hearn's best American fighter. Better than Raymond Ford, better than Otto Jones III, better than Mark Castro, better than Nikita Abibi, all those guys that they signed from the USA. But yeah, this is a dangerous fight. Kevin Lele Sajo has been waiting a long time for this opportunity. He's physical, he's rugged, he's strong. And Pacheco, he's very, very tall, and people are wondering. People want to know, does Diego Pacheco have tall man syndrome? It's very possible. We shall see. The WBC is a joke. That's why I respect the fighters who win the IBF titles the most. To me, the IBF title is the best belt in boxing. Fuck all that propaganda about the green belt and the prestige and the majesty and the glory of the WBC. For me, when it comes to the competitive integrity of this sport and which sanctioning body best represents those things, it is the IBF. So yeah, all the IBF champions to me are actually the real champions. But that's my opinion, and I know that's a very unpopular opinion. Frank Sanchez has had 5 people turn down IBF eliminators against him, and nobody cares. That's what I'm saying. You've had Jared Anderson, Dubois, Efe Ajagba, I think my boy Ivan Hrgovic, Mozi Itama. It's been a lot of guys, but I don't hear everybody getting on the internet saying people are ducking Frank Sanchez because, again, like you said, no one actually cares about fighters who are actually avoiding fights. The same way, nobody actually cares about steroids in boxing. People get mad when I say that. People get upset when I say, nobody cares about steroids in boxing. But it's the truth, because I remember in my younger early years, when I used to talk about steroids, and I used to talk about, I got videos from 2017 on this channel about, the WBC clean boxing program and can it be trusted? And I was questioning that. People did not care. And they only care when their favorite fighter is affected by a positive test. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, man. I know, and shout out to my boy Sean Tatel, has been talking a lot about this on his channel. The word of the year in Webster's dictionary is parasocial. And a lot of people have parasocial relationships with their favorite fighters. They're literally gay for their favorite fighters. And it's annoying because it takes away from the enjoyment of a lot of these fights. People just get caught up in their favorite fighters. And don't get it twisted. I have my favorite fighters too. But unlike some of you guys, I actually know them in real life. So it's different. I'm actually, that's different. But either way, people have to get to a place in boxing where they stop idol worshiping their favorite fighters. They have to understand that their favorite fighters have flaws. They can be beat, and they're not perfect. They're not going to walk on water. Who's the most accomplished current fighter who doesn't have the machine behind him? That's a great question. The most accomplished fighter who doesn't have the machine behind him. A couple of guys that come to my mind are actually three of them. 3 of them that come to mind immediately are my favorite. Are 3 of my favorite fighters, which are Angelo Leo, Brian Oman Jr., Subriel Matias. All 3 of those guys don't have big promoters. And yes, guys, I like Pro Box. Shout out to Daniel Rubin. Shout out to Gary Jonas. But they are not a big promotion. They are becoming a better promotion, but they're not one of the big 4 promotions. So promotions. So they don't really have big machine behind them. But let me see who: Angelo Leo, Brian Oman Jr., Subriel Matias. Who else could I say has accomplished a lot without the machine behind him. Lamont Roach, I mean, that's another one. Lamont Roach, you know, yeah, he fights on PBC, but it's a co-promotional deal. He's got Pro Box involved. He's got his own promotion license with No Excuse Boxing Gym and No Excuse Promotion. So I would even say him. You know, a lot of the guys that I actually tend to respect the most in this sport are the fighters that don't have the machine fully up their ass. O'Shaquie Foster, that's another one. Guy literally lost a couple times early in his career. I remember very clearly him fighting on Ring City, USA, when nobody cared about him back then, and look at him now. Now he's legitimate world champion. So I would throw his name in there. You know, there's a lot of great fighters who don't have the machine up their ass that are doing great things in boxing. Talker says Abbas Barrow. That's Abbas Barrow. You know, look at him now. He's about to fight in a unification fight in Puerto Rico. God willing, fingers crossed, I'll be there. Yeah, he's another one. I would say, how about we go to Japan? Because you know, True School Sports is the American home for Japanese boxing. Why don't we go with Masamichi Ibuki? He's a guy in Japan that has made a great legacy for himself and a great name for himself. And he doesn't have a bunch of money bankroll behind him. Like his purse bid with Alvarado was like 17,000. Like it was a crazy low number. I can't even remember the number that it was. Maybe one of y'all who are really good with the memory can refresh my memory on what that purse bid was for Ibuki versus Alvarado. It was insanely low. So yeah. By the way, make sure y'all show your love and appreciation for the main man himself, one of my best friends, and definitely one of the best people in boxing media. Sean Tattel, shout out to Sean. He says Xander's feet will be too much for Barrow. Good fight. I think Zayas wins. And I would tend to agree with Sean, but also, you know, Abbas Barrow is a very crafty pressure fighter. I don't want to overlook him, but yeah, he hasn't fought a fighter as complete as Xander yet. I think Xander wins a fight. It probably will be I don't know. I don't think it'll be a knockout, but I think it'll be like a consistent, you know, like 117, 111 UD type of fight. Maybe something similar to what he had to face with when he fought Jorge Perez. And he says, bro, I'm looking forward to Ram Murataya versus Andy Cruz. Great fight. Amazing fight. You know, you look at that fight, you look at Andy Cruz being trained by Bozy Ennis. I mean, he didn't go the traditional route of a lot of Cuban fighters. Most Cuban fighters, they either stay in Cuba or they go to Miami. They don't go to somewhere like Philadelphia to really acclimatize themselves to the professional game, the professional sport of boxing. And, you know, you can see the Bozy Ennis, Jaron Ennis influence in his style. I mean, Murataya, I feel like he's a good fighter, but we've kind of seen in pockets of time, like when he fought, what's his name? Tevin Farmer, struggled with a mover. You know, it's been Murataya has had the most success when he's fought guys that exchange with him, like Diego Torres, you know, guys like that. So I think Murataya has a lot of questions to answer in that fight. And I think Robert Garcia is going to have his work cut out for him in getting Murataya the win. But that's a very good fight. Ray has power, more pro experience, and a 72-inch reach. He's got to let his fucking hands go. Starting to think he can do it, though I'm not ready to pick him. Look, man, I haven't had the best luck recently picking fights. So, you know, I don't like saying what I'm picking out loud right now. But honestly, I see what you're saying. If he does let his hands go and he could get the output going on a guy like Andy Cruz, I feel like he could hurt him. I feel like he could, you know, push him back and make him uncomfortable. But man, Andy Cruz, his legs, his ability to counterpunch, and now with Bozy Ennis and them in his corner, he's become a more comfortable front foot fighter. So, you know, I still got to watch more tape on the fight. I don't want to sit here and just be married to my pick. That's my new. For those of you who want to know what's my New Year's resolution in 2026 for boxing, my New Year's resolution is going to be not getting married to my damn picks, because I do that a lot. So, you know, that's one thing I'm going to work on to get better for you guys. My man said the Ibuki Alvarado purse bid was around 30,000 total. 30,000, guys. 30,000. So you talk about a guy who hasn't had the Japanese machine behind him. That guy is Masamichi Ibuki, and he's still chugging along. He's still, in my opinion, when you talk about the top 5 best fighters from Japan, he's in the top 5. Like you say Kenshiro, and it's no order, but Inoue, Kenshiro, Junta Nakatani, And then after that, I mean, it's fair game. You could throw in who you want to throw in, but he's easily one of the top 5 best fighters from Japan, and he gets no love. You see, oh, Seiya Tsutsumi, yeah, man, Seiya Tsutsumi, another guy. He never ever gets treated fairly. He always gets screwed by the powers that be in Japan, and it doesn't matter. He still beat the shit out of Takuma Inoue when they fought. So yeah, that's a good mention. That's a guy that has overcome the odds to become very successful in boxing. I like that. Yabuki's the hardest punching 112-pounder in the world, 1,000%. And I think people would be very surprised to hear me say this, but I think he might be the hardest punching fighter from Japan, point blank, period. Not Inoue, not Junto, not none of them guys, not Kenshiro, Masamichi Ibuki. And guess what, guys? When I've been in Japan, every fighter I've interviewed who's ever talked about the hardest punches that they've been in the ring with, they all say Ibuki. When I asked Seigo Yuri Ikui, he said Ibuki. When I asked Kenshiro, he said Ibuki. Everyone always says Ibuki because he is the hardest punching fighter from Japan. He's one of the hardest punching fighters in boxing, point blank, period. What is the best Inoue performance in your opinion? Good question. A couple of them spring to mind. Obviously Fulton, Manuel Rodriguez, and then if you want to go like really, really early in his career, I would say was it Kohei Kono? I think it was the Kohei Kono fight where he knocked him out going backwards. The top 3 fighters that you want to be a champion. Oh my God. Well, if you ask me who I want to be a champion, those are all. I'm gonna name you all people, fighters that I know. Like they're gonna be all fighters that I know. So like, number 1, Eric Lances Jr. Number 2, Yugo Osaki. Number 3, Ian Green. Any one of them guys win a world title, you're gonna see me cry the legitimate tears because I've been very much a part of all 3 of those guys' boxing journeys, and I think they've all been through a lot in the fight game that the boxing fans don't know about. So if I could see any one of those 3 fighters become a world champion in the next year or 2 or 3 years, however long, I'd be very, very happy about that. But removing fighters that I'm cool with, right? Bias aside, 3 fighters that I would like to see become world champion that I'm not cool with. I'm just fans of them, or I just watch them. I'll say Ernesto Mercado. I would like Ernesto Mercado to become champion. I think he's got a very, very I don't know how to say. He talks a lot of shit, right? He's good for the game. I think he's good for the sport of boxing in the 140 division. So I'll say Ernesto Mercado. I'll say I guess I would like to see Moses Itama become champion because he's a very good fighter. He's a guy that is being propped up by the UK British boxing establishment, and he's really fun talent. So we'll go Mercado, we'll go Itama, and then we'll go. Let me see who else could there be? Atif Overton. I'll go with those 3. I'll go with those 3. You never talk about Julian Smith, who beat Ergashev and Orestes Velasquez. Well, that's not true because I've made videos about them before, so you're wrong. But thank you, champ. Ian Green could pick up a vacant belt if they strip Johnny Beck. Theoretically, he could, but no, he's not going to be at 160 anymore. He's recently informed me that he'll be competing at 168. So middleweight is done for him. He's gonna go to 168 and see what go look for some smoke up there, and I'll be supporting him every step of the way. What's up, BT? How you been? I've been exceptional, and I'm about to be even more exceptional starting tomorrow because if you don't know, I was just in San Antonio over the week. I covered my first major fight in about 5 months because I just been staying home and staying put. But 2026 has to be a different year for me. I have a big schedule planned out, and it's gonna start tomorrow. Tomorrow, me and Pops are gonna make our drive down to Florida, and we'll be going to the WBA convention, which will be commencing on December the 12th. We might have a big pit stop on the way there, but I don't want to speak on that too much because it's not confirmed yet. But yeah, and then after that, going to South Florida, gonna go visit the South Florida gyms, gonna be going to the Pro Box show, gonna be going to probably the Matias fight, gonna be going to Puerto Rico for the Xander fight, gonna be doing a lot, man. I can already feel it. Like this year is gonna be something very, very different. So I'm really excited about that. Dominique Francis has got to get back in the mix. I think Dominique Francis will be okay. You know, I actually spoke to Dominique Francis a week ago because like I told you, I'm going to South Florida, so I haven't interviewed Dominique in almost 2 years. So we both agreed that we need to do a new interview, and he agreed to it. So when I go down there, I'll be interviewing him, and he'll be all right because he just signed with Fighters First Management, which is Adrian Clark. Adrian Clark is the same person that managed Brian Norman Jr. to the world title. So he's in good hands. And I think inevitably he's going to get more fights and more notoriety because he now has proper management behind him. So that's always a big thing in boxing. But yeah, shout out to Dominique Francis, South Florida, stand up. Mexican faded journeyman Antonio Moran was hitting Cruz with bombs. Murataya's going to break Cruz down and stop him late. Murataya is the upset of January. You think so? Maybe, possibly. I'm not gonna make a final prediction. I'm gonna go watch some more tape, but I don't know, man. If Andy Cruz start moving on his ass and punching in between his shots, I think he's gonna be in some big trouble. Well, you know, it's a good fight. You better not get attached to your pace because you know a 17-1 Andy Hiroka is going to lose. I don't know that, actually. I don't know that. So thank you, Hiro. BT, you gotta come to a Chris Glover show in Pakistan. I actually spoke to him about that recently, Chris Glover. Shout out to Chris Glover, one of my friends in the fight game. Yeah, he invited me to come out, but Pakistan isn't cheap. You know, to fly from where I live to Pakistan is not cheap. And, you know, I had some questions I had to ask Chris, like, Chris, is Pakistan like Saudi? You know, will I, if I go over there, will I get chopped up? You know, all that stuff. But, you know, he's assured me that he's okay over there, so I should be okay over there. We shall see. I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out for 2026, but you know, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like in a rush to go to Pakistan. You know, just being honest. Rocha versus Raul Curiel was a dogfight rematch. Be good. I'm very excited for the rematch. You know, I feel like Alexis Rocha fought one of the best, most intelligent fights of his career. Curiel, you know, I still think could fight a better fight than he fought in the first fight. And, you know, he's changed his trainer. Now he's training Robert Garcia. So I'm not really sure how that's going to go for him. But, yeah, it's intriguing because when you look at this very thin welterweight division, it's a weight class that, you know, is very much in transition. So I would actually say that Curiel versus Rocha is probably one of the most important fights in the division. As crazy as it sounds, you got a lot of you guys may say, "Nah, BT, that fight don't mean anything." But listen, guys, the division is very thin. The division doesn't have a lot of big fights right now, and I wouldn't even say it's a big fight, but it's bigger than a lot of fights that could be made at welterweight right now. So, yeah, it should be fun. What are my thoughts on Shabazz Massoud versus Peter McGrail? That's a great question. Shabazz Massoud is a good fighter. I like Shabazz Massoud. You know, not a big puncher, but boxes very, very well from the outside. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it when they fought. I didn't get a chance to watch the fight. I've been running around. It was over the weekend, so I haven't even watched it yet. But he won. He outboxed him. So good for him. You know, he's one of the guys at 122 that when the NOA vacates the titles and the belts go vacant, I think Shabazz Massoud will be a world champion. You know, people look at his record and they see the 17-2 with 4 knockouts and they say, oh, well, Shabazz Massoud isn't a big-time puncher, which is true. He's not a big-time puncher, but as he showed in the fight with Liam Davies, if you don't know how to defend a straight left hand, if you're a fighter who is susceptible to counter punchers, he will figure you out. So yeah, good win for him over the weekend. Pakistan. My man Mark says Pakistan is worse than Saudi. Well, look, man, I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to going to Pakistan or Saudi, if I'm just being honest. Like, there's so many countries in the world I'd rather go visit. I'd rather go to the UK again. I'd rather go to, you know, Mexico. I'd rather go to Puerto Rico. I'd rather go to, you know, Japan for the 50,000th time. Like, what are my thoughts on Misfits Pro signing fighters? I think any fighter that signs with Misfits Boxing is going to fuck their careers up. That's what I think. If you want the honest opinion, as we've seen with Dylan Price, Misfits Boxing does not know what they're doing. yeah, like Vidal Riley. I mean, Vidal Riley wasn't going to amount to anything in boxing anyway, but now he's really ensured that it's not going to happen. Don't ask me about no damn Misfits boxing and no motherfucking Vidal Riley. I don't like Vidal Riley. Which fights are you looking forward to this month? I mean, there's not a whole lot of time left this month. I mean, we got a couple weeks, but Ken Shiro, I'm looking forward to seeing Ken Shiro back in the ring against Waldo Garcia with a chance to become a 3-division champion. Obviously, Inoue, Diego Pacheco this weekend. There's not a whole lot of fights left, so I mean, there's not a lot I can name. I stopped caring about my picks after losing big on Mayweather versus Corrales and Hopkins versus Trinidad. Yeah, shit, I might have to adopt the same approach. Would you go to England? I've already been to England. I went in 2019, but I want to go to England this time and like have a real proper, trip to the UK, because the first time I did it, it was very irresponsible. Will Kenshiro fight Bam if he wins? You can't. You're asking the wrong question. You need to reverse the order of that question. Will Bam fight Kenshiro if he wins? Because Bam and Robert are already talking about going to 118 because supposedly Maloney was the mandatory and there was an exemption filed, so that they don't want to wait around to become undisputed. So you got to go ask Bam. All the guys that Bam was supposed to fight at 112, 108, all the young, strong Mexican American fighters, they made Kenshiro fight them, not Bam. Bam got to fight all the old guys. He got to fight some Brits. Like Kenshiro doesn't get the chance to just pick and choose cherries. In fact, Kenshiro has fought the strongest competition of any Japanese fighter over the last 5 years. That includes Inoue. So go ask Bam that question. Hey BT, after what happened with Fulton, would belt organizations give fighters suspension to fighters like Fulton and Keyshawn who don't even try to make the weight to get the advantage? Should they do that? There's a lot of things these belt organizations should do, but they don't currently do that. So I don't think it's going to change. Just being honest. Pakistan has one of the highest rates of. I can't even say that word, man. I'm sorry. With estimates ranging from 50. Damn. Well, there you go. So I guess we're not going to Pakistan. What's good, BT? What do you think about Pitbull versus Lamont? I haven't watched it back yet. I'm probably going to watch it tomorrow or tonight before I go to sleep. I'm okay with the draw. A lot of people who are, Lamont Roach fans are saying that he got robbed. A lot of people that love Pitbull who are saying he got robbed. I'm okay with the draw. I really feel like both fighters failed to really impose themselves on the fight, and I'm okay with the draw. Like normally I wouldn't say that, but I'm okay with the draw. Who's more dangerous for Bam, Kenshiro or Christian Medina? That's actually a great question. I would say right now, biased. Just being honest, probably Christian Medina. Kenshiro is at an older age. He's lost a step since the Sego Yuri Yakubi fight, and I would say Medina. Medina's a bit fresher. Medina has he's very physical. I think he would have that ability to kind of put Bam on the back foot in spots of the fight, but it really just depends on how shop-worn Kenshiro is or isn't. If Kenshiro Taraji if he can somehow go to the well one more time and somehow channel the 2022 version of himself, or even 2023, then Bam gonna have a real fight on his hands. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Kenshiro is gonna give him a tougher fight than these guys like Puma and Kafu. But I think right now, Medina. Just being honest, even though I love Kenshiro, I would say Medina. He's fresher. You're not excited for Blair Cobbs versus Elliot Whale in the UK? No, I'm not. If I'm being on, no, I'm not. I know what's going on. I saw that it got announced. It's good to see Blair Cobbs back in the ring. I don't know who the fuck Elliot Whale is. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I overly care about that fight. But I'll watch it, and hopefully Blair Cobbs goes in there and brings excitement to the division, because boxing is better when Blair Cobbs is active. Shout out to my guy Matt Borgeson with the first super chat of the live. Good to see you, Matt. He says, "What's more realistic, Inoue going to 126 or meeting Bam at 118 for a super fight if he beats Nakatani?" Definitely Inoue going to 126. Guys, please, for the love of God, please, every boxing fan in the world, stop mentioning Inoue versus Bam. It's not happening. It's never going to happen. Get it out your mind. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. So to answer your question, yeah, him at featherweight. Bam, whenever you hear Bam talk about fighting Inoue, all that is just clout chasing. Because I mean, either Bam is ignorant and doesn't really understand what's going on around him, or he's just being a clout chaser, because they're never gonna fight. They're never gonna fight. Mr. Honda, yeah, Mr. Honda is not letting that fight happen. Why? Mr. Honda don't think like and see now y'all got me on the subject of Mr. Honda, right? And I don't like talking about Mr. Honda because every time I talk about Mr. Honda, everyone's like, BT, you blame Mr. Honda for everything. Well, yeah, if a fight happens, I'm giving Mr. Honda credit. If a fight doesn't happen, I'm gonna blame Mr. Honda. Why? Because they've given that man so much power. They've given Mr. Honda so much power to control Japanese boxing that's the nature of what's going on. So I'm only telling y'all the truth, and a lot of y'all don't want to hear it. But yeah, definitely him at 126 over the Bam fight. Inoue is not going to 126 unless he sees a very weak champion. I mean, look, the guy that they want him to fight is Ball, because Ball is the weakest champion, straight up. But don't worry. We're gonna force Inoue into the Angelo Leo fight. Don't you worry. We got something coming for you guys. Y'all just stay tuned for these next couple days, and y'all gonna see. Inoue isn't a duck. He will legit go and fight the strongest champion at 126. Well, get ready, because the strongest champion at 126 is about to get the belt. When do you think Inoue moves up? I would think that Inoue moves up after the Nakatani fight. If of course that's provided, and it's a big if, because Junta Nakatani might go around and beat the hell out of Inoue because he's just that damn good, right? It's a dangerous fight. There's a reason why that fight is the biggest fight in Japanese boxing, and it's not just because of Inoue. It's because Junto is that much of a threat. So if he can beat Junto, I think at that moment in time he goes featherweight and he starts his voyage of trying to become a 5-division champion. You understand? So we shall see. By the way, shout out to everybody here who's tuning in and showing that love and that support. It's your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, True School Sports. This is True School After Dark. Before we get on the road, once again, thank you guys for joining me. Hope all is well, and God bless everyone. Matt Borgeson, shout out to you. He says, also, what's up with people giving zero chance against Shakur? Bruh, is Gordo when he is on. Barbosa was a better fighter than Zepeda, and he was slick. Look, I don't want to doubt Teofimo Lopez. When Teofimo Lopez is really on it, when he's really on his P's and Q's and he's really dialed in, he's as great as any fighter in boxing. And we've seen that over the years with Lomachenko and the Josh Taylor fight. And even to a lesser degree, the Barbosa fight, Barbosa's a good 140-pounder. And everyone in that crowd was having ass performances. Not Tio. Tio had a good performance. So I think in that fight, Tio's athleticism, Tio's just the dexterity of how he fights, his athleticism. These are things that Shakur Stevenson has not had to deal with. Let's be real. Like, Shakur Stevenson has made his career fighting a bunch of flat-footed Mexican fighters. Like, and handful of like really explosive guys he fought, like Edwin De Los Santos, on a much lesser extent, German Nagatilia, he didn't want no smoke. He didn't know what to deal with those guys' styles. So obviously Tio isn't punching the way he did at 140, but he's still dynamic enough to get your respect at 140 when he hits you. So I'm looking very forward to seeing what Teofimo brings in this fight, because I do see some paths to victory for him. Can Shock Foster make noise at 135 versus Abdullah Mason or Kid Austin? Yes. I think, listen, when Oshaki Foster, he showed us many times, in the Consensao fight, in the Fulton fight, he has that ability to keep things very nice and long and professional on the outside. And when he's disciplined like that on the outside, very hard guy to deal with. Kid Austin, very explosive, does a lot of shifting. I think I actually think O'Shaquie could beat Kid Austin. Honestly, I think that's a very winnable fight for O'Shaquie Foster. Or Kid Austin likes to switch and shift a lot. A guy like that could get outpointed by a guy like Foster with his range and his discipline on the outside. But that's only if Shock Foster maintains discipline on the outside. If he goes and he starts trying to get into exchanges and things like that, then things will get very problematic for him very, very quickly. But I like that fight. And then Mason, I would favor Abdullah in that fight. But again, Abdullah is someone that keeps his head on the center line a lot. He can get clipped, as we've seen with other fights in his career. Yeah, why not? Like, even if he can't get the Shakur fight, I think he should go ahead and definitely, pursue fights at 135. Matt Borgeson with the super chat again. He says, Shock would beat Mason right now. Mason is not ready. Well, look, one thing about, I remember many years ago, you understand, like, I remember like, what year was it? 2023. Remember Abdullah Mason came down. He came down to South Florida when I was living there. Abdullah Mason came down to South Florida. I had the honor to set up some sparring for him, and I was with him and his whole family in a couple of the gyms in South Florida. And I remember I was interviewing him one day at Fifth Street Gym on South Beach, and his dad said, "BT, boxing will dictate who we fight." Basically meaning that whoever is winning fights, whoever is putting belt to ass, whoever is the best fighters in the world, that's who we're gonna fight. So my thing is, Mason is now 21 years old. The training wheels is off. He's now in the big leagues, and so you can't say he's not ready. If that fight is available and that paperwork gets passed along, well then, brother, it's time to fight. So I don't believe in that when you're a champion. After his next fight, if Angelo doesn't get a unification or ordinary fight, does he move up? Prediction. I think after his next fight, if Angelo does not get a unification fight, he's probably just going to go fight Rais Salim in a mandatory defense. It's ridiculous that these guys at featherweight don't want to fight. It's crazy. So look, we got one ace in the hole. We got one thing. We have something very, very special planned. And you guys will be hearing about it in the next couple of days. In regards to Angelo Leo. And I'm gonna tell you this: when this gets executed, if this particular fighter doesn't want to fight, y'all are gonna know who I'm talking about, because it's gonna be out there in the public. So just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. You'll hear in a couple of days. Is Inoue versus Leo really up? Does Leo want that smoke? I mean, we dying for that smoke. Are you crazy? Yeah, he wants that smoke. Everyone at featherweight wants to fight Inoue. It's a money fight, but see, for Angelo, it's not just a fight. Like, it's not just about the money. Fuck the money. Like, yeah, the money's great. Yeah, it's great. You can to change your family's life and do great things, and you're gonna reap the benefits of all these years of labor. But all that aside, Angelo loves boxing. Angelo has been dreaming about like being one of the best fighters in the world and going to the Hall of Fame, and that's the fight that's gonna do it. So of course he wants that smoke. What's good, Brody? I see you turning up the content. This year. Much love. I'm doing my best, champ. Doing my best to hold myself to high standards. All right, I already read that. Mason's feet are too flat-footed. He will get outboxed. Possibly. I mean, look, every fighter has flaws. I think Abdullah Mason Sam Noakes exposed some of those flaws that Abdullah does have as a fighter, and it's all going to be a learning experience. He's now the youngest world champion in boxing. There's no such thing as, we want to fight the easy guys. We want to go easy. No, you got to get to the killers. You got to get to the real fights. So we'll see how it goes. I think when he's at his best, Abdullah Mason is someone that be sharp, that sharpshoots through the middle, that can box and slug and mixes things up. But yeah. But he be hating on, let's see, Keem says, but he be hating on Bam, to be honest. BTB. How am I hating on Bam? Because I'm not. Why? Because I tell you guys the truth. I tell you guys that, he's been fighting a truckload of old ass fighters. That's a fact. That's not hating. Almost everyone he's fought has damn near been at the end of their career. But I'm the bad guy for pointing it out. Not saying he's not a great fighter. I would say on my personal pound for pound list, I got Bam like number 6, maybe 7 pound for pound. But he's a great fighter. He's fought really good fighters. Like the Puma fight was a great fight. You know, Puma is a guy that hadn't lost before, had dangerous volume punch. He turned it into a sparring session. I give him Bam his just due. You guys just choose not to hear it. And then when somebody comes and tells you guys things that you're not accustomed to hearing about Bam Rodriguez, y'all get all mad about it. I've never ever seen Angelo. Which fight should I watch to see what he could do, or should I just go ahead and watch his whole career? The 2 fights you could watch, I would say, in my opinion, you can go watch his fight against Venado Lopez and Cesar Rocky Juarez. If you want to know how great he can be on any given night, those are the 2 fights you watch: Venado Lopez and Cesar Rocky Juarez. And then after that, you could go with like Mike Planilla. You got to be more unbiased or name this the Angelo Leo channel. You know what? If you don't like it, like another thing. So I mentioned earlier about my New Year's resolution about how, like, you know, I'm going to work on not being married to my picks, because I'll be standing on my picks for real sometimes and being stubborn. The next thing I'm going to do, the other New Year's resolution I have is telling certain people to fuck off when they start talking that bullshit. So honestly, y'all, you gotta fuck off if you're gonna talk that bullshit. How are you gonna sit hating on Bam? I was showing Bam love here before a lot of y'all even talked about Bam. So what are you talking about? Bam is way better than Angelo. Bam has never fought anybody like great in their prime. Who has he fought? Name me one fighter that was at an A level that Bam you know that had any power that Bam fought. Name me one. Name him. Well, look, all I'm doing is pointing out that the young guy is in his weight. Look, Carlos Sandoval, Anthony Olascuaga. Those are 2 guys that have been in the same weight class as him, but he didn't fight those guys. He didn't fight those guys. That's not hate. That is a fact. You know what's crazy? I had a guy in Texas this week who I like. He was a cool guy, big Bam fan. He was telling me that right now that Bam Rodriguez is pound for pound number 1 in boxing. I'm like, you out of your mind. He's on his way. He's very good. You know, if he beats Nakatani, you could sit here, you can make an argument. He beats, you know, a big win. He's one big win away from being on that like top 3 level with them guys. I mean, look, it sounds good. It sounds good. But again, fights are won in the ring. They're not won off perception. He decapitates Princessa. I don't know about that one. I saw Israel. I saw Christian Gonzalez break his jaw. So I don't know. Hyro says, I was the first one to speak about how overrated Bam is, and I'm right when the truth comes out about Diego Pacheco. No, you're wrong about Diego Pacheco. I love how Shakur is making fun of Inoue's resume, saying he found nobody and comparing them to Tio and saying who accomplishments are better. I thought Shakur was wrong for that. Like, listen, I've been the first person this year to say, like, Inoue really, by his standards, which are very high, this has been, even though he's fighting 4 times this year, which I give him credit for, it's been a down year for him in terms of the quality of fighters that we normally see him fight. But come on, man, Shakur, you can't compare. Come on. Inoue is one of them guys. I don't know who Nakatani fought. He's a good fighter, but who has he beaten? He beat Angel Acosta, who was a former world champion. He beat him. He beat Ryosuke Nishida, who was a world champion, who was one of the best bantamweights in the division to unify. He's beaten some good fighters, but I would definitely say, you know, Nakatani's resume isn't on the. Well, actually, no. Hold on. He beat Seigo Yuri Ikui early in his career and Seigo Yuri Ikui wanted to become world champion. He beat Masamichi Ibuki early in his career. He wanted to become a world champion. Junto's beating really good fighters. I think people like. I'll tell you this: Junto's beating better fighters than Bam, but people don't want to hear that conversation. If Bam fights them young, then they will say he fought them too young. At 115, no one is beating Bam. Bam, he's going to kill the IBF 115 pounder. No, he's not. Because he's not going to fight the IBF 150 pounder because Robert Garcia already said they're going to go up to 118 because the IBF, whoever wins that fight with Ken Shiro and Ubaldo Garcia, they have a mandatory due, and that mandatory will not wait because an exemption was already filed for the Ken Shiro Ubaldo Garcia fight, and Maloney is not going to take step aside money or wait. So unless Robert Garcia, Mr. Honda, and all the parties involved on that side could find a step aside deal with Maloney to get him out the way so he could fight for undisputed, then he's going to 118, and he's probably and watch y'all can clip this. I challenge any one of y'all to come clip this. Bam can go ahead. Watch, he's gonna go to one. He's gonna swerve, become undisputed at 115, right? And he's gonna go to 118 and fight Antonio Vargas. He's gonna go do some shit like that. Watch. He's gonna go to 118 and fight Antonio Vargas. It's too predictable. It's too predictable. Matchroom signed Antonio Vargas for the sole purpose of getting him a Bam fight. I can see it from a mile away. He's gonna say, you know what? I don't want to wait to become undisputed. I don't want to fight with Balder or Ken Shiro, I don't want to wait. So I'm going to go to 118. And I'm going to go fight Antonio Vargas. Watch. You're a Bam hater, damn Mike. I'm not a Bam hater. I'm just telling y'all what the deal is. I'm just telling you how he's being moved, and y'all don't like it. I like Bam. Bam is a fighter that I love to watch fight. I just did a YouTube short where I just gave this man a bunch of credit, but y'all didn't see that. Y'all only hear what you want to hear. All right. Bam has a great resume. He's beat some good fighters. He's decorated fighter. I give him credit for that. He's 25 years old. What is he, like a 5 or 6-time world champion? Great fighter. I never said he wasn't a great fighter. All I'm saying is his resume ain't what y'all are making it out to be. He ain't like all them guys he beat with names. We're past it. That's a fact. I don't give a fuck like you think. Like to be honest, I don't give a fuck to that degree. I don't care. I don't care to that degree. If he loses, it is what it is. If he wins, it is what it is. All right. I'm just telling y'all how he's being moved. And when I make logical observations, y'all don't like it. When I say things like Bam Rodriguez has fought a bunch of old guys, but then all the young guys that were from his country in and around his weight, he didn't fight those guys. And y'all don't like it. They making Ken Shiro fight those guys. Ooh, see, I can see that. Bam Takuma. Watch. Bam Takuma or Bam Antonio Vargas. Something like that. I think though Eddie Hearn has talked about him fighting Christian Medina. Now, to me, look, he goes and fights Christian Medina, then you won't even hear a peep out of me. Christian Medina, heavy-handed Mexican volume puncher. But Christian Medina, I mean, but I don't think they're gonna do that. I think Antonio Vargas and I think Takuma Inoue. Those are the kind of fights he's gonna be involved in. And really, it's gonna be Antonio Vargas because the whole purpose of Eddie Hearn signing Antonio Vargas is to match him up with Bam Rodriguez. But y'all understand later. Y'all will understand. Y'all won't understand it now because a lot of y'all can't see things. Y'all don't understand how this shit really works. He's gonna fight Antonio Vargas. Bam beating Takuma gets him in the Hall of Fame. How decorated is Takuma? Takuma's a 2-time champion. He's a good fighter. Shout out to the Untouchable True School Sports. Junto versus Inoue. Junto versus Inoue. Or Junto versus Bam. I'm not really sure what the question means, but I mean, you're saying like who would I rather see? Honestly, if you left it up to me, I want to see Junto versus Bam over Junto versus Inoue. If I'm being honest, I mean, Junto versus Inoue is a bigger event. It's gonna be at the Tokyo Dome. It's the biggest fight in the history of Japanese boxing. I like that fight. I love that fight. I'm gonna go to Japan about 2 months in advance just to start my coverage for that fight. Probably around late February or early March. But I would like to see Junto versus Bam so I could really know who's who. You know, that to me right there would show me, okay, how great is Junto? How great is Bam? They're both awesome. We know they're both awesome. We know they're both top 10 pound for pound. But who is really on that S tier of fighters. You know, I like that fight, but I'm not complaining either way. Kenshiro Taraji. I mean, hey, it sounds good. It sounds good. If only Bam would stay at 115 long enough, because Bam's not Bam. Listen, if you're talking about Kenshiro versus Bam, only one of these guys has ever really called for this fight, and it ain't Bam. It's always been Kenshiro. Let history show that. Is Seiya and Donaire not fighting for the full title? I don't know, man. I don't got time to keep track of all this bureaucracy. Let me see. No, I'm pretty sure they're fighting for like one of them bullshit interim belts. You know how boxing goes. Boxing likes to create belts out of thin air. 118. Yeah, they're fighting. It's confusing. The WBA, listen, the WBA bantamweight title picture is confusing because you have Seiya Tsutsumi, who won the belt against Takuma, right? But then he had a cut, so then they declared him the champion in recess. Then you had Antonio Vargas elevated to champion. He wound up fighting Daigo Higa. But I think they had a draw or he won. I can't remember if it was a draw or he won right now. But either way, he retained the belt. His mom died. They declared him the champion in recess. Donaire became the interim champion because he beat the Chilean guy, Andres Campos. And so now, so that would mean, yes, Jairo, Tsutsumi versus Donaire actually is for the full title. And the winner of that fight will have to fight Antonio Vargas. Some dude the other day was clowning on Inoue for not fighting on his level, but they won't say about that about Bud. Isn't he the guy that makes some way? We will never be happy. No, people will never be happy. I just listen. It's hard. I don't blame these fighters because it's hard. It's hard to please people. You'll never please everybody, right? A lot of people feel like Bam Rodriguez has beaten all these killers. I don't think he's beat all these killers. I think he's beat good fighters, and then most of those good fighters were past it, right? But a lot of people disagree. You know, I think there's fighters that I think are very underrated that people don't think are very, very good. So that's the whole beauty of this. We all have our different perspectives. What if Bam tries to pick on Donaire if he beats Seiya? That's what I would expect. That's actually what I would expect. If Donaire somehow beats Seiya Tsutsumi, I would expect Bam to fight Donaire. That's actually the status quo. He's going to fight someone who's really old. That's why if he moves up to 126, he's going to go after the best champion because that's what he does. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to see if that theory holds true. Because I know who the best champion is, and it's going to be solved. And for those of you who don't know, don't worry. That's going to be solved real soon. Just wait. Just wait a couple of days. Donaire was doing his thing when fight parties were a thing. How is he still fighting? He's still fighting because he clearly still loves it. He still loves being in the fight game. He still loves the sport. He's still accomplished enough to have some standing with the sanctioning organizations. And unfortunately, they're not protecting him from himself. So he's going to fight the guy who throws so many punches that he literally, put a guy into a coma and that guy wound up dying. That guy was Seiya Tsutsumi when he fought Kazuki Anaguchi, RIP. So I'm very, very worried for Donaire. I'm so serious. I'm very, very worried for Donaire. This is not someone you fight when you're old. This is not someone you fight when you're old and you've seen better days. No, this is the wrong guy to be fighting. And I've been banging that drum. I've been saying this for a year now. I was saying this around this time last year when the story first broke out about Donaire requesting a top 5 ranking from the WBA. I was saying it back then. So my story with Donaire and Tsutsumi has remained the same. It hasn't changed, and it's getting stronger as the fight gets closer. He said it's the same with Matias and Dadashev. He beat that man until Dadashev succumbed to his brain injuries. That's what I'm saying. There's certain fighters like these Matias's, these Seiya Tsutsumi. These are not the guys you fight when you're old or your weight drained. You know, you will die. Like it's not like even trying to glorify death or anything like that. There are certain fighters in boxing. I would even say, like, even though he hasn't killed no one in the ring or nobody's died fighting him, but I would even say Dave Benavidez, like Dave Benavidez, Seiya Tsutsumi, Matias, these heavy-handed volume punchers that don't stop until, you know, the fight is done. You know, these are not the guys you fight when you're older or your weight drained or your health is compromised, you know. And a lot of times, you know, this is why I have respect for the fighters, because, you know, other sports like basketball, you know, I watch other sports. Like I watch basketball, and sometimes I can't watch a lot of basketball because I always watch boxing. And boxers are so tough. Boxers are such warriors that when I watch basketball and I see how sissy soft NBA players are, it's like, man, you got to really respect these fighters, because they're doing everything they can to continue, you know, having a broken eye socket, you know, being weight drained, just all these different things they could have in the ring, and they still fight on. As for basketball players, they have a bit of a right hamstring tightness, and they want to sit out for a week. It's just different. Fighters are cut from a different cloth. Have I been to a Warriors game yet? No, I have not. Not in the Bay Area. When I go to the Bay Area again, if it's still basketball season, I'll probably go to one. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable, True School Sports Empire. We're just here having fun, fleshing it out, you know, fleshing out some boxing ideas and answering y'all's questions. Some of y'all are mad. Some of y'all calling me a hater, and that's how it is. You know, when you really tell the truth about all these fighters, people say you hate the Mexican fighters. People say you hate the black fighters. People say you hate the Brits. People say you hate Eastern Europeans. People will even say that you hate certain Japanese fighters, even when you do your best to cover all the fighters in Japan with love, respect, and dignity. So, you know, we don't worry about the hate. We concern ourselves with the love and the support. You know. City by the Bay says, I think Shields versus Cruz is a great fun fight. The best fight to make women's boxing is Lauren Price versus Michaela Mayer. Lauren Price versus Michaela Mayer is an amazing fight. You know, I don't really give a damn about women's boxing these days. If I'm just being blunt, I don't really care about it like that, like I used to. But yeah, Claressa Shields versus Franchon Cruz is a great fight. They fought when Claressa Shields made her pro debut, right? So imagine that your pro debut is Franchon Cruz. You know, that right there will show you the greatness of Claressa Shields, right? Who doesn't get the credit she fully deserves, in my opinion, as one of the true great American fighters of our era. All right, Lauren Price, Michaela Mayer, great skillful matchup between two masters of the mid range. I like that fight a lot. So, yeah, good fights. I fuck with Bam, but you are correct. The majority of the legends being in their mid to late 30s and in lower weight classes, the older you are, the worse it is. That's what I'm saying. And people don't understand that. Like, they think that he's being the wrong side from 2017. Bro, when Bam has great performances, and I've enjoyed them. I've gone live for some of Bam's fights, so you can go see what my reactions were when he was fighting wrong side. The videos are still on the channel. All right. But they be acting like it was 2017 Rungvisai, like he beat 2016 Quadras, like he beat, you know, you get the gist, 2019 guy was trying to. No, he did not. These guys are all way past it. But then when I pointed out, I'm the bad guy. But when I tell you the truth, you always get mad because you be on that bullshit. You be on that bullshit, and I know you be trolling. So that shit pisses me off because you do that shit on purpose. Why did you go crazy when Bam stopped Rungvisai at Sean's house? Because I didn't think he'd stop him. I thought he'd win. I think he stopped him. That's probably his best performance. That was a truly great performance. But you know, he was old, but I didn't think he'd stop him. That was impressive to me because Rungvisai, yes, he's old, but I thought he was at least durable enough to not get beat up like that by Bam. How do you see the fight with Billy and Shiraz going if they fight each other for the WBC title? I haven't thought about it too deeply, but I know a lot of people probably say Shiraz because of how great he looked against Edgar Berlanga, but man, and they'll probably say like, oh, and Billy's a one-dimensional fighter. But I'll tell you this, it's a hell of a dimension, and if you can't stop it from getting downhill on you, you cooked. Because really, I thought I picked Lester Martinez to beat Billy, and I didn't think that he won that fight. I thought and Billy beat him, and he was lucky to get out of there with a draw. And Billy might be. I think he has a great argument for being the best pressure fighter in boxing right now, or at least in the top 3 or 5. I'm gonna go with him, Billy, straight up. I think Shiraz is gonna be in trouble. At least with higher weight class, you're able to get away with it because power is such an essential thing. While in lower weight classes, speed, youth, and agility matter much more. They do, and people don't understand that shit. So when I point out that. Not just Bam, but any fighter in the low weight categories. If I say, oh, well, he's a great fighter, but he's fighting fighters that are very old and way past it, all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. I'm not going to lie. It kind of bugs me when people say Pitbull is overrated or that they clown. Maybe it's because I see him as just a fun fighter to watch. He isn't super good. He's just fun. I disagree on that. I used to think that, early, like maybe like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, I would probably say he was being overrated, but I think Pitbull Cruz has earned his spot. He's a very he's fun. Like he is a fun fighter, but I think Pitbull Cruz is actually very, very good. I mean, you saw when he fought Tank on short notice, which is very difficult, how well he performed against Tank. A lot of people thought he should have won that fight. He fought Rolly, right? And people want to clown Rolly and say Rolly's not that good. Rolly's a world champion. Like Rolly is literally a world champion. And he just beat Ryan Garcia, right? Rolly's a very athletic fighter. He's not an easy guy to deal with in there. Even Tank had problems with him in the first 4-5 rounds before he knocked him out. So Pitbull Cruz demolishing him actually showed me how good of a fighter he is. And then with Lamont Roach, I mean, he's the smaller man. He's given up, 3 or 4 inches of height, probably, anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds on fight night, probably more. And, Pitbull Cruz landed the more significant shots. He's 5'2", and he turns his height into an advantage. He has a very hard, high guard to penetrate and just figure out. So I love Pitbull Cruz. I think he's a much better fighter than people want to give him credit for, and I think he's better than just a fun fighter. I think he's a legitimate world-class fighter because he's fought other world-class fighters and not just held his own, but in some cases beat the shit out of them. I mean, I get Sonny was a great fighter and all, but I feel like he was low-key picking on him too. I mean, Sonny Edwards is a very good fighter. I like Sonny Edwards, but I mean, okay, let's just say I say if we say Sonny Edwards is Bam's best win, right? You think Sonny Edwards is better than guys that like Usyk and Crawford and all these guys who they want to put Bam next to? You think he's on that level? No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rolly's a 2-division champion, right? Maybe not legitimately because one of those belts might have been a regular title, but either way, Rolly started boxing at 15, 16 years old, very young, and look at all he's achieved in boxing. I mean, imagine if Rolly would have been boxing when he was 10 or 9, like these guys like Shakur and Tank. He started boxing in his adolescent years, and look what he's achieved in boxing. For me, it makes no sense. And Billy is fighting for a vacant title because isn't Billy the WBC interim champion 168? Yes. And he's been there for a long time. And see, this is why I can't hate on anybody who talks shit about the WBC. I'm not no WBC fanboy advocate, nothing like that. But and Billy should be elevated. He should be the champion. The guy has been the mandatory for a while now. My annoyance is people act like Bam's untouchables. I swear he gets hit flush all the time when angling off, and they think he's cracking. Yet, at best, he's punching like a 118-pounder. Listen, that's what I'm saying. I think, look, when a fighter has everything going right for him in his career, it's not just the fighter. It's the fighter and the management. The management knows their fighter's strengths. They know their fighters' weaknesses, and they create a roadmap of fights to get for their fighter, and it's the fighter's job to win those fights. And when the management does their due diligence and the fighter goes in the ring and kicks ass, you have what looks like Bam's career. So for me, it's like he's got his flaws. I feel like, you know, he's very good. He's one of the best fighters in the world. We can't take that from him. But I want to see him fight a guy like Junta Nakatani. Even if, you know, Kenshiro isn't, you know, completely washed, which I don't think he is. You know, if he beats Waldo Garcia, I would like to see Bam fight Kenshiro. Like, I want to see him fight someone like that. But you know, hey, it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinions. BT, who do you think can beat Jao Bataya? I really don't know anyone that could beat him that's not a heavyweight. He may not be the best, but I think he's the most lethal champion to face, in my opinion. That's a great question. I think Opetaia, just like Bam, has his holes. He has holes too. Every fighter got holes. I think Benavidez could be, I really think Benavidez could go up the cruiserweight and beat Opetaia. I think Opetaia, because he's an apex predator and likes to hang around in the pocket, that would allow Benavidez to exploit maybe some of the hand speed he has. But it's a dangerous game to play, of course, because Opetaia's got fast hands too, and they're very heavy. But I could see Benavidez winning a workman-like points decision, maybe even getting a late stoppage over Opetaia. But I'll tell you this, people. I was sitting press row this week, and I was talking to some of my colleagues in the fight game, some of the bright minds in the boxing media, and a lot of them wasn't feeling Jao Opetaia. They were saying that, you know, he's not that good, he's got holes, he's this, he's that. Truthfully speaking, I mean, that might be true, but Jao Opetaia is a real fighter. Like, Jao Opetaia can punch with both hands. He's got elite speed. If you're someone that likes to get into exchanges, you're playing a very, very dangerous game with Jao Opetaia. Jai Opetaia hasn't beat nobody. That's not true. He beat Marius Briedis 2 times. Marius Briedis is one of the greatest cruiserweights of all time. Marius Briedis gave Alexander Usyk a tougher fight than Joshua did both times, and Fury did both times. So what are you talking about? Jai beat him twice. He hasn't beat really anybody outside of that. Like, he kind of has the whole like Rafael Espinoza thing going on, where his only great wins are against the same guy, and then everything else around it has been mostly cannon fodder opposition. But that's because people actually don't want to fight him. And on top of that, his promoters in Turkey and the people that have been controlling his career haven't been putting the proper investment into his career. So that's what I'm saying. Who knows? Maybe Ken looks good, but if he doesn't next fight, it's probably, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be the end for Kenshiro. So I'm gonna really enjoy his next fight. Been one of boxing's true champions for the better part of almost a decade now. I mean, it's possible. I think Opetaia is a better fighter than Morrell. Straight up. Like, Morrell is good, and I think the day Morrell Jr. win is very good for Benavidez. Like, I give him full credit for that win. But Opetaia is different. Like, yes, he gets hit. Yes, he could be a bit susceptible to volume punches. But man, you get hit the wrong way by Opetaia, and he can cover a lot of ground. He can cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. You have a lapse, you overextend on the punch, he sharpshoots down the middle, you're going to the hospital. Like, you know, Benavidez talks about how he sends guys to the hospital. Well, guess what? Opetaia does the same thing too. Ask Marius Briedis. Ask Jordan Thompson. Ask the guy Sin Cara. Ask these guys been fighting about what he does to him. Kenshiro is the GOAT for me as well, man. I love the guy, man. He just been a guy that's really represented boxing the way it's supposed to be represented. It's supposed to be represented, you know, fighting real killers, real dogs. Next Gen Combat says, I'm gonna be real. I was mad, shocked, and Fulton got to fight for the interim title at 135. He said the only reason he was mad is because they had literally just announced that Jadi Herrera was supposed to be fighting Richard Nunez for it. Yeah, but that's fucked up, because Jadi Herrera, he's a guy that needs to win that belt. Like, he needs the opportunity. If he doesn't get that opportunity, then he's going to be playing the waiting game for a long time because he's not no big name. He's Cuban. You don't speak a ton of English. So it's like, what the hell? You did all that for you. You screwed him, who's actually a lightweight, for two guys that are not lightweights. Like, what are we doing? Shout out to my man QC, says BT, our boy Boo Boo has got 2 or 3 more fights left. He can't get no fights. Maybe he can get about a 160. Listen, man, I'm gonna keep this Boo Boo talk short, and I'm gonna keep this Boo Boo talk sweet. I don't think he want to fight no more. I like Demetrius Andrade. At one particular point in time, I would go as far as to say he was one of my favorite fighters when he was at 154, 160. He was a favorite of mine, but Demetrius Andrade, I think he's content with what he's done in his career, like 2-division champion. He's got money. He's got nice cars. He's got a nice house. I don't think he's going to fight again. And if he does fight again, I don't think he's going to fight anybody serious, honestly. That's just my opinion. I like Boo Boo Andrade, but I'm not going to sit here and wish upon a star. I did that for many years. What are you talking about? Because Bam fights 115, bro. What? Because Bam fights 115. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I think Opetaia could win. He's just as big, if not bigger, than Benavidez. And Benavidez starts to slow. Benavidez' defense, while has got better, still has holes. And Jai is a sharpshooter. He's like a bigger Bivol. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's some stylistic things that I feel Opetaia can bring to the table to trouble Benavidez. But I also think Benavidez could, definitely win a workman-like decision over Jai, possibly break him down if Opetaia's defense doesn't get cleaned up. So that's to me, like, I know they're gonna go do Zotto versus Dave Benavidez, and I like Zotto. Like, Zotto is someone that I think is actually an underrated fighter, someone that gets overshadowed by the Canelos and the Benavidezes of the world. So I know they're gonna fight, and I understand it's like Mexican American versus Mexican. I get it all, but really, for me, if we're talking about the cruiserweight division, the fight is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, Benavidez versus Opetaia for me. Unfortunately, the low weight classes don't get enough recognition. Most of the time, the money isn't there compared to the higher weight classes. They don't. They really don't. And truth be told, the lower weight classes is like where a lot of the best fights in boxing happen. By the time like the Shakurs and the Tios of the world find their balls to fight each other and get the paperwork ironed out, these guys in the lower weight class already fought 3, 4, 5 times in real fights. And I get it. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm actually pretty smart when it comes to boxing. Like, I understand the money's not the same. So these guys got to take those fights to make the money. I get it all. But it's not just a money thing. Like, sometimes these guys at 35, 47, 54, 60, we've seen it many times where that paperwork gets passed to these fighters and it's like legitimately fair contract offers, and they don't take the damn fights. So it's not just about the money. It's a here thing. Sugar Nunez, who you got, BT? Oh my God. I'm gonna go my boy Sugar Nunez in that fight. I like Sugar Nunez in that fight. But this era of boxing is slowly starting to make these lower weight classes get the recognition they deserve, but still it'll take years for the lower weight classes to be respected as they should. Well, they get respected in the places that they are at. Like, they get paid good money in Japan. They get paid good money in over there. And people who really like boxing watch the lighter weight categories. Like, for me, I'm a fan of the whole fight game. So, like, when these guys like Shakur and Tio and Ryan and Devin, when they're having their Twitter wars, not fighting each other, what I'm doing is I'm enjoying these guys in the low weight categories because they give them the fights. They're running right to the smoke. I want to see him run down on Shakur. LOL. Either way, I hope after being New Year's, he'll be ranked number 1 in the WBC. I think he's ranked number 4 right now, and New Year's is ranked number 1. I feel like Jody Herrera, he needs to take the Shannon Briggs approach. Take the Shannon Briggs approach, because if he leaves it to the competitive integrity of boxing and the sanctioning bodies, he'll never get a shot. He needs to go start like running down on Shakur and like spitting in his face and pouring water on his head. Like take the Shannon Briggs, let's go champ route, and maybe you'll piss one of these guys off into a fight. Notice how it's all the Americans. My generation sucks. Well, it's not all the American fighters. I mean, it's just the ones that were amateur stars. If you're an American fighter that was an amateur star, odds are you've done some fuck shit in your career at some point. So your Ryans, your Tanks, your Shakurs, your Tios, your Boots Ennis. These guys, they've all at some point swerved and done things that they shouldn't have done in their careers. But I mean, there's plenty of American fighters that are doing a great job that weren't amateur superstars that are making their mark in boxing. Guys like, O'Shaquie Foster, who we saw this weekend. Guys like Brian Norman Jr., guys like Angelo Leo. Like there's plenty of other American fighters that are doing just fine. Brian Norman Jr. versus Rolly. Who you got? Who do I got? Alexis Sandino. Fight's never gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That fight will never happen because Rolly ain't fighting Brian Norman Jr. But if they fought, I'm gonna go Bino in the Storm. BT, there's like 400 fighters between 105 and 118. Of course they fight twice. I mean, shit. PBC, there's less than that in PBC, and they still don't fight. They still don't do rematches on PBC, Harold. One man said Jin Sasaki versus Rolly. Oh man, I think Jin could win, but I would say Rolly. Jin needs to get some better sparring. He needs to get some better sparring. I really hope that at some point his team lets him get better sparring. Do the right thing. Stop being so damn stubborn. Conor Benn is on that bullshit. How so? Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia. Who you got? That's a pick'em fight, honestly. Depends. I would say I would actually go Ryan. Straight up, I'll go Ryan. Jin Sasaki should fight Lewis Crocker. That's exactly what I told the guy that runs his gym. I said, you guys need to go the IBF route. Go fight Lewis Crocker. I said the same thing. So we on one accord, champ. Jin is not ready for the GOAT. Talking about Rolly. I would agree. I don't think he's ready for that level. I think he needs to take his time. Is Inoue's next title fight going to be a record for the most title fights in a row? I'm not sure. I believe he's had like 20-something world title fights in a row. But what I can tell you is that if Naoya Inoue beats Picasso, Naoya Inoue will become the first fighter since Larry Holmes in 1983 to successfully defend the ring belt 4 times in the calendar year. So Inoue is always doing historical things, and it continues. Do you think Jin's team is stopping him from being the best he can be? I don't want to answer that. Did you see the Cardenas Nakatani sparring video? I haven't watched it, but I saw it popped up in my recommended section, so I'm gonna watch it. I was planning on doing a video about it, but no, I haven't. Not of yet. Not as of yet. Nakatani versus Inoue. Who do you got? I got the monster. I'm gonna go with the Golden Boy. I'm gonna go with the Sugar Ray Leonard of Japan. I'm gonna go with Inoue. Conor Benn hasn't fought at 147 in 3+ years, and he's ranked at number 1 by the WBC. Dude can't make 147. He should campaign at 154. I mean, hey, they ranked him there. Shout out to Eddie Hearn. Shout out to the powers that be. We'll see if he can beat. We'll see if he can beat the scales in his next fight and make the weight. BT Sam Jones said that Dubois is looking for potentially either Worley versus Caballero. I think he looks kind of bad. Loses badly to Caballero, but I want to see him fight Worley. Who do you think wins between him and Worley? Oh my God. That's a very good fight. That's 2 punchers. That's 2 guys that are vulnerable. That's tough. And I don't want to have recency bias because I feel like if I say Worley, I'm just gonna go off the fact that he just beat Joseph Parker. So I don't know. I would probably lean towards Woodley, just being honest. I think Dubois mentally, that Usyk rematch kind of broke him. Got rid of Don Charles, which I thought was stupid on his part. And it's showing a lack of accountability and mental toughness on his end. So I'll lean towards Woodley because those two things I mentioned, accountability and mental toughness, those are things that Woodley has been showing that he has in spades. And Woodley might be one of the biggest punchers in the heavy. Not might be, he is one of the biggest punchers in the heavyweight division. He stopped Joseph Parker. You know, so yeah, I want to see Woodley against Usyk. I mean, I feel like they were angling at Usyk fighting Parker. Woodley beat Parker, so why not let the man get his shot at the brass ring? Why not let the man get his shot at the crown? I don't get it. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, Brennan Taylor, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm just live chilling, answering y'all's questions. I didn't do no detailed live today. I just want to come through, show my face. I haven't been live since Thanksgiving, so just wanted to do this last live before the True School Roadshow commences, and we start going to the convention and these fights and making our rounds around the United States of America. Yep. He says, I disagree with you. I think Usyk beating Wilder will be good for his resume. It would be great in theory. I mean, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, when people look at his resume and see that he beat Deontay Wilder at the end of his career, people are going to be like, damn, that's crazy. But, I mean, yeah, like Wilder is irrelevant. Wilder is not a factor in the heavyweight division right now. Wilder, hasn't beat anybody worth a damn in a couple of years now. I would like to see Usyk fight, Caballero, who I think has earned his shot. Woodley, who's also earned his shot. Moses Itama, who hasn't earned his shot, but they're trying to let him get a shot. Let one of the three guys fight, Usyk. And, if Wilder can get like a one solid win in the top 15, then you could do the Usyk fight. But like just to have him off of Tyrell, Herndon, get a shot at Usyk when you got all these other guys that are deserving, nah, man. I'm not rocking with that. Who should Chocolatito go for at 118? I like to see him versus the WBA champion Antonio Vargas. Honestly, I don't think Roman Gonzalez should fight at 118. I think he should retire. I think the time for him to fight at 118 was about a year ago, and they wasted their time and messed about. And I saw his last fight against the Mexican guy he fought. He looks shot. He looks like an old man. He looks like he needs to retire. So I hate to say that because that's my favorite fighter of all time, but I don't have an answer for you because I don't think he should be fighting anymore. Donaire has literally been fighting for 24 years. Jesus. Yeah, man, he's long in the tooth. So we'll see how it goes, man. I'll tell you this. If he goes in there and beats Seiya Satsumi, he's an all-time great to me because that's not a fight he should be winning at all. Would you say Frank Martin's footwork is pretty good at 140? I mean, Frank Martin had pretty good footwork at 135. Straight up, he had good footwork at 135. He just, sometimes guys need to move up. They're better at different weight classes. I don't want to go crazy over the Bartholomew fight because really and truthfully, I feel like Rantis Bartholomew was shot and he was past it. But credit to him, he delivered a vicious knockout, which is what you're supposed to do, and he did it. So credit to him. I want to see him fight Keyshawn Davis or probably Abdullah Mason, someone like that. Yeah, I would like to see him fight, Keyshawn Davis, or even he could fight Gary Anton Russell. What are your thoughts on Anthony Lara's next opponent? Who should it be? Johnny Beck being out of the picture. I don't know, man. The middleweight division's in shambles. Lara can actually keep that belt as long as he wants because that's how bad this division is. But if I could give him a fight, I'd like to see Lara do the all-Cuban passing of the torch fight with Yoenis Hernandez. Do that fight. I'm trying to see Tito Mercado in a big fight soon. The kid has skills and he has power. Yeah, I like Tito. Tito's a good fighter. I've had a chance to interview him on this channel on one occasion, and I like Tito. I think Tito is someone that needs to be moved a little quicker by the folks at Matchroom Boxing and just the powers that be in the fight game. I would agree with you. Dynamic fighter, boxer, puncher, someone that, you know, has a mouthpiece on him, someone that's good for the division. That's what I'm worried about. That's why Seiya Sutsumi needs to just beat Donaire, because, bro, that's exactly what he's gonna do. Like, Donaire is like, we talk about fighters not wanting the smoke, fighters ducking challenges. We can't say that shit about Donaire. He's so much about the smoke that it's to his own detriment. Like, he needs to literally chill out. No, we don't need to see Jose Pedraza no more at all. Nope, we're good on that one, champ. Jose Pedraza has been used and abused enough. We don't need to see him no more in the ring. Oh my god. Jose Pedraza is washed, man, and I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm saying that from my. Yeah, bro, he's been done for years. Like, they recycled him so many times with so many different opponents, and it's like, I like Pedraza. You know, he was a very good fighter in his day, you know, at his best. And I hate seeing that. I hate when some of these guys stay around too long and they just get used and abused when they can't win these fights no more. And I get it. Like, I get it from the fighter standpoint. It's like, look, a lot of these guys, the only way they know how to make money is fighting. And, you know, I'm not going to pay Pedraza's bills, and I know none of you are. So the only way they can keep going is to fight. But I wish he would not fight anymore, because, you know, it's kind of like this 5-fight losing streak that he's on. It's tarnished his legacy, or it's tarnishing like the fighter people used to remember him as. Oh my god, I honestly, like, I swear on my life, if Inoue beats Picasso and Junto, and then let's say Donaire beats Sutsumi, and if Inoue stays at 122 to fight Donaire a third time, I'm going to talk crazy. Like people think I'm a quote unquote Inoue hater now. They're gonna think I'm a hater then if he does that, because that should be a federal crime. If Inoue and Donaire fight a third time, that should be a federal crime around the world. Well, in his defense, you know, normally I would agree with you, because I'm pretty indifferent towards Lara. I think people overrate Lara like crazy. He can box. He can clearly box, but he gets too much credit for things he didn't do in the sport. To his credit, he did sign to fight Johnny Beck, and it wasn't his fault that Johnny Beck, you know, tested positive. He showed up. He made weight. He was a disciplined professional. Johnny Beck did not. Johnny Beck tested positive, so that wasn't his fault. But yes, before Johnny Beck, he hasn't really fought anybody since Brian Castano, so I get it. That's what I thought they were gonna do. I thought they were gonna do Resendiz versus Big Charlo. I'm actually disappointed in PBC, because they haven't really done anything for Resendiz since he beat Caleb Plant. I thought they would have had him out there more. You know, they had you know, he's a Mexican fighter. He had a good performance against a name in Caleb Plant. I thought they would have had him out a lot earlier, but, you know, the trend with PBC is to keep these guys on the shelves. So why should it be any different just because this guy's Mexican? Hello, BT in chat. Frank Mara looks solid. He looks much improved on Buddy McGirt. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think Frank Martin showed a lot of the skills he had before Buddy McGirt, and they had the right guy in front of him to do it. But, you know, I can't get mad at him. You know, it was great to see him land a big knockout and get in the win column and get some confidence back, because, you know, when you get styled on and beat up the way he did when he fought Gervonta Davis, sometimes you don't know if a fighter will ever recover from that and win a fight again, you know, like any fight, whether it's against a big name or not. So it's good to see him come back and respond well. And now, like, look, all of a sudden now he's back in the mix. Hyro says Lara's fought. I'm not even going to read that. Like, I'm not reading no Lara propaganda. If you over here telling me about Lara, what he's been doing the last, 10 years, he hasn't done a whole lot in the last 5 to 10 years. He's been Look at his resume. He isn't like I don't like to downgrade nobody's accomplishments, but Scary O'Sullivan, Danny Garcia at middleweight, fucking Johan. Like, come on, man, stop. We're not gonna see him act like Lars been beating a murderer's role. He hasn't. And he lost. Tyro. Thank you for reminding me. He lost. Like the only name that you mentioned, what the damn, he lost to him. I'd like to. I mean, I wish that would happen, but he's got Picasso, and then if he does that, then Nakatani to handle. But yeah, I mean, in the intermediate time, it gives these featherweights a chance to separate themselves. Stephen Fone didn't really want to fight. That's why he fought O'Shaquie Foster. Rafael Espinoza, I don't think his promoters want to fight Angelo. So that really only leaves one person left to try and go get a fight with him. That's Nick Ball. So just expect to hear something about that. Just stay tuned to the WBA convention, guys. That's all I'll tell you. Just stay tuned to the WBA convention. Just stay tuned. Nakatani is going to beat Inoue. Timing is everything. Well, I hope not. I really hope not. But if he does, won't shock me. Junto is one of the baddest motherfuckers in boxing. Does the Ali Act protect boxers from the belt sanctioning body manipulation and the rules on the fly? Doesn't necessarily protect them from that, but it protects them from a manager and a promoter double dipping and screwing them over. Like, look, I say this many times. I repeat it. I think I say this about once every live. I'll say it again. A fighter is only as good as his team. So it's incumbent upon the team to make sure that the fighter doesn't get screwed by sanctioning organizations. If the fighter gets screwed by the sanctioning organizations, that means his team sucks. Straight up. Straight like that. What's your thought on Jai Bataya's last outing? Jai versus Badu, Noel winner, then hopefully Zotto. I thought he looked very vulnerable. He got hurt early in the fight. But Opetaya did what Opetaya always does. He puts people in the hospital, right? And he hurts them. So I wish we could see him versus Benavidez next, but that's not going to happen. Fulton is cooked. He has no work ethic anymore. I think he's done. Like, people were saying that he was done before the Brandon Figueroa rematch, and I was like, nah, he's not done. And I was right that time. But look, if you can't make weight for a chance to become a 3-division champion and really put yourself in a class of your own amongst the great Philadelphia fighters, then you're cooked. You don't want to fight no more. You don't really want to be in this fight game. And it happens to the best of them. Like Stephen Fone, he's 32 years old. He's been in some great fights. He's done amazing things, but it's time to pack it up. You don't want to fight no more. And I'm saying I'm sticking a fork in him. I don't normally do that, but I am sticking. He's a great fighter, awesome fighter. Someone that's been, a net positive for the sport, but he needs to pack it up. He don't want to fight no more. Out of his last 6 opponents, that was the 5th one that Opetaya has hospitalized. That's what I'm saying. Like, Cyrus, and good to see you, Cyrus. Like, I was talking to a lot of my colleagues in press row this weekend, a couple people, and Opetaya's name came up, and they were trying to tell me that Jai Opetaya ain't like that he's not that good. And my thing is, like, not that good. He's putting people in the hospital like it's a routine. Like, that's hard to do. I think him and Dave Benavidez is the fight that boxing fans should definitely prop up more, but that won't happen. Yeah, Fulton looked like he's lost the drive, Sally. Full props to the Foster, though. No, O'Shaquie Foster went in there and did his job. He was professional. He came in there, he went and he stuck to his game plan, and he boxed Stephen Fone easily. Stephen Fone, I swear to God, I never want to see him box again, because from the looks of it, he don't even want to see himself box again. Because how do you reconcile missing weight for in a fight where you can become a 3-division champion, the first 3-division champion in the history of Philadelphia boxing? You pass that up? Come on, man. You don't want to fight no more. Fulton just wants to eat, drink, and get his hair done. And that's what he's doing. And God bless him. Who am I to criticize a guy that gave his life to the fight game and achieved great success. Yeah, but the guy who won the Super Six ducked and avoided him. So who cares? Who cares what you're saying about Lucien Bute? The guy that won the Super Six ducked and avoided Lucien Bute, because the guy that won the Super Six, whose name I won't even mention, the guy who won the Super Six said before the Super Six that no, he said was it him? Yeah, it was Lucien Bute. Lucien Bute said he wanted to fight the winner of the Super Six, and the winner of the Super Six said he'd fight Lucien Bute after. He never did. So I don't want to hear about that. You trying to put down Lucien Bute. I ran a poll on Shotgun Twitter. Most people think he's elite now. I have a theory that Fulton found the girl he liked who lifted him up when he was down, and now he's getting comfortable. I just have no facts at all. It's possible. I mean, look, he got money now, and he's got business. It's very possible. I mean, speaking for myself, I can't speak for nobody but Brendan Nelson Taylor, right? Which is myself. The only time I've ever had a real girlfriend during my whole time on YouTube, I got comfortable. I damn near left this shit. I damn near got content with life. So if it happened to me on that lower level, I'm sure at a higher level in terms of money, it can happen with Stephen Fulton's phone. Maybe you're onto something. Maybe it's possible. Who do I got? Ryan Garcia or Mario Barrios? I'm not confident either way. I'm not confident in Ryan, and I'm not confident in Mario, but I'll go with Ryan just because I feel like Ryan is the more talented guy, and I think Ryan will be up for this fight. And I know Jairo in about 5 seconds is going to be in this chat talking about Henry Garcia training him. I don't think that's a bad thing. Henry Garcia knows his son better than anybody, and Henry Garcia is the one that had him knocking out people when he was a prospect and getting the boxing world excited about Ryan Garcia. So I'm excited to see Henry Garcia in the corner. If Ryan beats Mario Barrios, people are going to be treating him like he's a hero. I sure as hell will, because I'm tired of Mario Barrios getting all these big fights, getting shoved down our throats in the boxing world. Oh, that's possible. I mean, look, Danny Garcia has been a part-time boxer for like at least the last 5 to 6 years. I'll say 5 years. He ain't been a serious fighter in years. And that's one of Stephen Fulton's friends. He's been going to Miami with Danny Garcia, living life on the boat. So that's what he's doing. Are you an Angelo Leo fanboy? Actually, better. I'm even better than that. I'm part of the team. So yeah, I would say even greater, even greater than that. Many might frown on the IBF, but I really appreciate them because they honor their mandos on time, no matter how known or unknown they are. If you earn your position, you will get a shot on the WBC. And you're correct. I agree with that. The only thing I could say about the IBF that I don't agree with is that sometimes the IBF champion may have a mandatory defense, and that mandatory might get pushed back multiple times, and they'll honor the mandatory, and then they'll fight their voluntary, and then they get another mandatory thrusted upon them that they shouldn't. They should be allowed to fight in a bigger fight, but the IBF, gets real difficult with the mandatory situation. So I would say sometimes they're like, they honor the mandatories almost too damn much, but hey, you can't have it. You can't complain when you can't sit here and say that the WBC does honor the mandatories, and then when the IBF does, now you want to complain about it. But again, there's positives and negatives to everything. The IBF is the only body to not have several belts and rarely has an interim champion, and that's why to me the IBF belt is the best belt in boxing. And on top of that, it's probably like in terms of just aesthetics, if you've ever seen the IBF belt up close, it's probably the second nicest belt in boxing behind the WBC. It's really, really nice. They got like red diamonds on it. It's pretty nice. I've seen a couple fighters IBF belts in person. Like I saw Rosario's belt when he had it, and a couple other guys. I say the only downfall of the IBF is lack of freedom the champions can get. That's what I'm saying. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say in so many words. Is the champions have a difficult time getting unification fights because the mandatories just get thrusted upon them, and sometimes it's not even the fighter's fault. The fighter could be a fighter that doesn't have a high market value and is a purse bid fighter, and their promoters don't win the damn purse bid. So then the B-side fighter or the challenger promoter wins the purse bid, and then the fight gets delayed and delayed and delayed. They fight, they beat the mandatory, and then they still can't get a unification fight because they got to honor another mandatory. So that's probably my only problem with the IBF if I had to state a problem. Why are people acting like sanctioning fees are brand new? They've been around forever. Because people are Terrence Crawford dick riders and they're just going to go with whatever Terrence Crawford says. But like, man, if it wasn't for these belts, Terrence Crawford wouldn't even have had a chance to become a millionaire in boxing. And that goes for every fighter in boxing. All of you, all of them. Your Canelos, your Crawfords, every fighter in boxing who became a name, if it wasn't for these sanctioning bodies, you wouldn't even have had a chance to become a seven-figure fighter. That's the truth. Because the boxing industry and the money that it generates is really dependent upon TV networks. And TV networks like world title fights. TV networks like, titles involved. You understand? And plus, when a fighter wins these belts and we, the boxing fans, see the fighters with the green belt or the red belt or the other belts, it gives us the aesthetics of, oh, this guy is great. Oh, this guy is a decorated champion. So it's part and parcel of the game. It costs to be the boss. If you're really at the top of the sport of boxing, it's gonna cost you something. You think this shit is free? All these conventions and world title fights and all these things that the sanctioning bodies do, them things ain't free. Just because they've been around doesn't mean people have always liked them. No, I get it. Like sometimes they do get crazy with the sanctioning fees. I'm okay with people having a problem with the sanctioning fees. It's like, look, I don't know. I mean, y'all can tell me. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read a fight contract before, but I've read quite a few fight contracts. And when you get a fight contract, all right, it tells you in plain English. It literally spells it out for you. It'll say something like, look, the party known as Top Rank Incorporated offers, Vasily Lomachenko, right? They have your name there. It'll literally tell you the dollar amount, the title, all that stuff. And you already know based on whatever you get paid. So like let's just say if you make if it says in the contract you're making 150 grand from that fight, that means that 3% of the 150 grand you're making is going to a sanctioning fee. You already know this because the title's name is written in the contract. So you're agreeing to it. So if you feel so strongly about these damn sanctioning bodies, then just don't fight. Don't fight for the titles. Do what Floyd did. This is why I have so much respect for Floyd, because Floyd never went undisputed because of these sanctioning fees. All right. Even when people universally recognize him as the best fighter in his weight classes, he was like, nah, I'm not the undisputed champion. I'm only fighting for the WBC belt. There were plenty of times where Floyd dropped the IBF belt, the WBA belt, and the WBO belt, and he would only fight for the WBC belt because of sanctioning fees. I can respect that because that's called being a man of morals and principles. He didn't like the sanctioning fees, so he just said, I'm not fighting for them damn titles. Have them. I know I'm the best fighter. They can't beat me. What you're saying is true, but us boxing fans want the fights free, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Crawford has paid over a dozen sanctioning fees. Okay, if you think Crawford has paid a lot of sanctioning fees, then how much sanctioning fees has Canelo Alvarez paid? Because I'll tell you this, it's a lot more than Crawford. and see, look, and then people get mad, right? They'll say like, oh, well, the WBC and these sanctioning bodies will give Canelo all this leeway. Well, yeah, he's playing within the parameters of the game. He paid the sanctioning fees. Cost me the boss. You want to be the face of boxing? You want to be the guy? That shit ain't free. Nothing is free. It's all about the bag, BT, and what is your share. I agree with that. He made 50 million. Well, supposedly, I don't know what he made. I'm not pocket watching him, but he made a lot of money fighting Canelo Alvarez. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been fighting him. And it's just like, okay, you wanted to fight for these belts so you can become a 3-time undisputed, all right? And then now you don't want to pay sanctioning fee. Like, come on, man. I mean, if we sit and think about it, people are going to eventually make more of us think about certain practices over time. I'm not surprised the fees are being criticized like this. Was kind of a matter of time. I mean, why is it a problem now? I mean, Crawford had no problem paying the fees when he was trying to become champion. Now he's champion. It's a problem. Like, I don't know. I just know how the game works, and it's just like you wouldn't even be in this position that you're in boxing or life if it was for these damn titles. Yeah, you're a great fighter. Yeah, you have the skills, but it's the belts that get the networks interested to put these fights on. That's reality. What do I think of Diego Pacheco as a fighter? I'm probably higher on Diego the most. I think Diego Pacheco, well, and anytime his name gets brought up, I always say this, so I'll say it again. When Eddie Hearn started building Matchroom Boxing USA and he signed guys like Raymond Ford, Arthur Jones III, Mark Castro, Nikita Abibi, all these different kind of guys, I've always said, and I had the videos from 2019 back then to prove it, I've always said Diego Pacheco is Matchroom Boxing USA's best fighter. And so far, so good. Now we'll see if that continues because Kevin Lelesajo is not a joke. He's a serious, hungry fighter who might knock his lights out if he's not careful. But one thing about Diego is a good boxer puncher. You know, I think he's actually probably a better boxer than he is a puncher, and I think he'll be champion. I think in 2026 he'll be champion actually. Nobody cares about the fees. Fans are just D1 slong riders, and Crawford is a turkey muppet. I would agree with every last sentiment about that. Yes. Look at what happened to Fulton when he got the bag at 122. Yeah, he hasn't been the same since. His only good performance since the Inoue fight is the Brandon Figueroa rematch. You know, he didn't look good against Carlos Castro. Like, yeah, he won, but he got dropped, and that made that fight very close. And looked like trash against Foster. So yeah, it happens. If nothing happens, the criticism will roll around again and be even bigger at some point. I mean, well, look, history repeats itself all the time, Cyrus. Like 10 years ago, Miguel Cotto was complaining about the same exact thing. But you know what he just did? He just dropped the belt, and that was it. Like, I have a hard time agreeing with anything Crawford says about belts because he's being bankrolled by the Saudi Arabian government, and he sold his country and the whole sport out to Saudi Arabia. So that's why I don't take nothing he says about this serious or with any principle at all, because like he was on stage when Earl Spence said the same shit about the sanctioning bodies and questioned it when they had the press conference. He didn't grab the mic and say, I agree with you, or yeah, Earl, we need to know where this money's going. No, he sat there, he waited for his face off, and he paid his freaking sanctioning fees. What you got to see from Pacheco on Saturday versus Sajo? I'll be honest. I mean, I don't think this is a fight where he should exchange. I think Pacheco needs to use every last bit of his 79-inch reach. Keep Kevin Sajo on the end of those punches. He needs to kind of replicate the O'Shaquie Foster performance. Be very disciplined, very long and professional on the outside. Let Kevin Sajo overcommit, and you walk him in the counters. And don't go crazy pressing for the knockout. If it comes, it comes. Pause, right? What do they say? Pause. But yeah, I think his jab and just using his reach, and then when you throw your right hand, when he throws his right hand, and he goes make his exit, do not pull out the pocket like tall, because if you do that, Sajo is going to be waiting on a big overhand right to clip you. So I think those are a couple things to look out for. So I'm expecting Diego Pacheco to box a very mature, professional 12 rounds and outpoint him. And if Sajo, gets out of line, maybe get stopped in the later rounds. But it's a dangerous fight. You messed up, Cyrus. My man said, I think Diego Diego's little brother should quit boxing and open a restaurant. Oh man, he gives me the vibes that he get busy in the kitchen. Listen, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and put nobody down, but Fed Pacheco has been matched very, very softly by Golden Boy Promotions. Fed Pacheco was a guy that, I remember hearing his name when he was amateur like 5 years ago because my boy Lorenzo Medina beat him. And I remember people made a big deal about Fed Pacheco back in those days. I haven't really been overly impressed with him in the pros. I know he did get some rounds in sparring with Zhili Zhang, but like I'm kind of with you. Like I'm not really too sold on the young kid Fed Pacheco. Do you got to see more volume from Pacheco and not too much waiting around? No. This fight is not the fight for volume. This is not that kind of fight. He needs to keep this really nice and professional on the outside and use his range. People fail to realize that fighters are like private contractors and have the freedom of options to unify if possible based opportunity. TKO and Zuffa organization puts fighters on salaries. That's what I'm saying. They don't understand that. And you're 100% correct. Fighters get a 1099 at the end of the year because they're independent contractors, right? Boxing is a sport of free market and free enterprise where fighters can move how they see fit. And it is incumbent upon the fighters and their teams to do what is best for them and their careers, right? Now, if Zuffa, or I don't even want to say if, I'm going to say when Zuffa takes over the sport, these fighters are going to get paid like, Japanese salarymen or these miserable people you see on Wall Street in corporate America. You can't make millions of dollars no more. You're getting paid this $80,000 a year and you're going to like it being a world champion. Go make me some money. We need an American British Boxing Board of Control. I would like that. I think that'd be great. I think it'd be great if we had a universally recognized American sanctioning body. That'd be sick. We need that. I might need to put some money together and go ahead and do that. I think Pacheco is better than Diego. He's the David. No, stop it. No, he's not. He's not. I'm telling you that right now. He's not. Fed Pacheco probably gonna get. Fed Pacheco, if Golden Boy is not careful, Fed Pacheco probably lose one of his next 5 fights. No doubt about it. But luckily for him, Golden Boy has been putting it in there with middleweights and guys that are not even close to his weight class. You've seen the fights. If Leo fights Ramon Cardenas, he would have trouble. Trouble with what? It's funny. You guys mentioned a lot of these fighters like him, but what you don't know, what you don't talk about is Angelo signed to fight Cardenas, but you don't talk about that. You don't talk about that. He would have trouble. Ramon's a good little fighter. I give him his respect. I mean, he had one great moment against Inoue. I'll give him that, but nah, he getting stopped. Fed is going to beat Joshua Edwards. That is not happening. No, it's not. That he might listen. He might not even get to Joshua Edwards. And who said that Golden Boy Promotions was even interested in making that fight in the first place? You think Golden Boy, a company that's very thin in talent, wants to just match their guys together? I don't think so. The Boxing Scholar says, "Where are you heading, bro?" And by the way, shout out to the Boxing Scholar. It was nice to see him this weekend. I had fun talking to him. Where am I not heading? Tomorrow I'll be getting in the car and I'll be driving to Orlando for the WBA convention. I might make a pit stop on the way there, but I can't really speak too much on that right now because it's not confirmed. But I might make a pit stop on the way there to do an interview, but I'm not sure yet. After the convention, I'm going down to South Florida. I'll be going to some gyms. I'll be going to the Pro Box show on the 19th with Ramon Cardenas. I'll be going to a bunch of gyms in South Florida. I'll probably be in South Florida for like three weeks or so. After that's done, then I'll probably go to the Matias fight in New York City. Then after that's done, I'll come back. I'll come back home for a couple weeks. Then I'll be getting ready to go to Puerto Rico for Xander. So, and then after Xander, I'm gonna go to camp with Angelo. Then I'll be going to Angelo's fight, and then after that, I'm going to Japan. So I'm gonna be in quite a few places coming up in the next 2 to 3 months. Jesus M says, "Is there any news on Lorenzo Medina?" Well, yes, I spoke to him. He called me. Lorenzo Medina called me a week ago because for those of you that he lost a recent fight. His last fight to Jarde Anderson. He knocked Jarde Anderson out. He knocked Jarde Anderson down in the first round, and then he got caught with a big shot in the second round and got stopped. So, he's going through a lot of things right now, in and outside of boxing, and he called me to kind of talk about it. And right now, nothing as far as fights, but just trying to get back into a better mindset going into 2026 because it's always tough for a fighter when they lose their first fight. And I'm still with Lorenzo Medina 150%, and I'm going to help him any way I can. So that's the most I can say right now. I can't really say much more than that. Salute, bro. You always working and dropping dope content. I do my best, man. I do my best. I put my best foot forward. I'm glad you enjoy it. Sean Tatel just put me on to someone he's picking as one of the next great American heavyweights, an amateur named Joseph. Yeah, he was telling me when we were in Texas, I spent a lot of time around Sean. He was telling me all about that kid. I haven't watched him yet. I don't know a ton about him. I saw he dropped this interview with him today, so I'll probably go watch that here in a little bit. But listen, we really need an American heavyweight in boxing in the worst way. Even Turki Al-Sheikh has said it himself. We need a black American heavyweight champion. He said that, right? So I don't know anything about the kid other than the fact that he's fighting in the nationals. I think this week in Texas. He's like Ghanaian. Well, he was born in America, but his dad's Ghanaian. So I wish him the best. I wish any young American fighter trying to carve out a career for themselves in the fight game because it's tough. It's not really like if you think about it. You guys tell me if you agree or not. I can't think of a time in history where a harder time in history for you to be an American fighter than right now, because boxing is not healthy in this country. Amateur system isn't in the best place. There's just not a lot of investment. So I would argue right now there's never been a more difficult time to be an American fighter than right now. That's crazy. 6'5" and 18. That's insane. What do you think about the Tio and Shakur fight? To be honest with you, I haven't even thought a lot about it. I don't really care that much about it right now. And that sounds crazy because it's such a big fight, but I just don't care about it like that right now. Shakur and Tio is a great matchup. I think right now I'm leaning towards Shakur just because I think Tio has struggled with southpaws. Like look at the Sandor Martin fight. Just look at a lot of his fights against southpaw. He struggled. I think Shakur probably won a boring decision, but again, Tio's athleticism and this ridiculous habit for him to look like the best fighter in the world when he's fighting these big fights, it makes you think twice against picking against him. But right now, I'll probably lean towards Shakur. I think Shakur Stevenson's going to be able to, keep Teofimo Lopez from exploding past the just he's not going to allow Teofimo Lopez to get in the pocket with him and leap in with left hooks or be the slick boxer that he wants to be. I think Shakur is going to slow the pace down, neutralize his punches, and take away the left hook. His dad fought pro with he was 6'5", explosive offense, and fast switch was good. Well, there you go. He's the son of a fighter. He has a good frame for a young age, so that's a good foundation to work on. Look, man, I've been watching boxing long enough to see these cycles happen. Like, it wasn't so long ago that people were saying that Jared Anderson was going to be better than Deontay Wilder. So it's the cycle of the fight game. The current fighters get looked at like they're not really anything that great, and then the younger fighters get looked at like the new shiny toy on the block. So we don't know how good that kid's going to be. I haven't even watched it, so I can't even give you an opinion. But I mean, I was never sold on Jared Anderson, but I do remember a lot of people were saying that Jared Anderson wasn't any better than Wilder. He's the next Riddick Bowe. Crazy stuff. Ooh. Shit, you might be onto something there, Cyrus. I didn't even think about that. Teofimo Lopez getting preferential treatment from the New York State Athletic Commission. That's only in play if it's a close fight. If Shakur goes in there and boxes his ass off, then it doesn't matter. He's got talent. I mean, I still don't think he's as talented as a lot of the top ranked matchmakers think he is, but his mindset really holds him back. I mean, for you to be not a small heavyweight, but a undersized heavyweight in this day and age and have a trash mindset, you got like you're disqualifying yourself. Like you got no chance. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him. But guys, look, I don't want to keep going on and on. I feel like, got my 2 hours in. I just wanted to come say what's up, break the drought, say what's up to everybody before I got to go ahead and get on the road and make some real big shit happen in this fight game heading into 2026. But guys, I appreciate all the support. It's been a glorious year, and I feel like this month's it's going to be the best month of this year. And San Antonio was so great. Like in San Antonio, the channel took some steps forward. I'm really close. I'm really close to that 90,000 subscribers, which I did not think I would be this close to at the end of the year. Because it's been a rough July to November for me. But man, 2026 success is inevitable, and I'm really excited about it. So listen, you guys take care. You be blessed. I'm not sure when I'll be live again. I'll probably try to do another one of these lives on the road with Pops in the next 2 days. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, take care. There's plenty of videos coming out on the channel as per usual. And yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.